Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. Another interesting week in the Premier League. One or two surprise results and also a number of red cards, which to some may not be a surprise, but you still have to consider the fact that there shouldn't be a few red cards in one match week. So it's a bit of a weird week for some of the teams. But let's begin with our match week review of match week 13. So obviously I'm going to start with the big game of the week, which is Liverpool and Tottenham. So let's speak in terms of Tottenham, because obviously I'm going to give a more thorough analysis on the Liverpool's part of the game. Same tactics that probably wouldn't have surprised a lot of people, to be honest with you. Typical Jose Mourinho style in terms of playing very compact, playing on the counter. Klopp described them as counter monsters, and to be fair, I don't think there's a better description than that. So it's very tricky to play against teams like that, because a team like Liverpool that has so much possession, we make one bad pass and it could literally ruin the whole build up to our attack. Which did actually happen with Son scoring a great goal. Nice finish on the far corner there. But yeah, overall, I was quite impressed with Liverpool's performance. So for me, the two stand-up performers were a couple of our youngsters. So Reece Williams and Curtis Jones, who I've been raving about quite a bit in the last few weeks. Another amazing performance, especially from Reece Williams, who was making his debut for the first time in the Premier League, and he was really, really good. Like, he looked so composed on the pitch, so it was quite nice to see a youngster getting a chance like that. Curtis Jones, for me, one of the stand-up performers this season, to be honest with you. I can't see anyone displacing him. The only player that from the injury list that we have, which is forever ending right now, is Thiago, would easily walk into the team. But if you're speaking about Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, for me, they stand no chance. So in terms of the game, it was a game with a lot of chances, especially from Tottenham. So Tottenham had two big chances from Bergwijn. One just went wide, and it's quite funny. They were both in the similar positions as well. And the other one hit the post. So I sort of had my heart in my mouth when that moment happened. Literally thought it was going in. But yeah, thank God it didn't. But yeah, I think for me, I was happy to see Bobby Firmino, who I like to call Bobby Dazzler, scoring the winning goal with a bullet header. I did predict Firmino to score as well, so I'm happy about my prediction there. But yeah, he played really well. Great team performance overall. But yeah, I think it was good to be top of the league with a bit of a gap now, whereas we were joint top for quite a while. So yeah, overall impressed with the performance. Got an interesting fixture coming up this week as well against Crystal Palace, so we'll see how that pans out. So on to my next fixture is Sheffield United against Manchester United. So unfortunately for United, again, they conceded first, which is, it's sort of their moment of the season where they seem to concede first, but then they do react and end up scoring and winning the game after all. But it's not the way you want to watch your team play, where they're always sort of hunting down the goals, whereas you want to attack from the beginning and lead the way as time goes on. The first goal was from McCordrick. First goal, I think, for him. Henderson made a bit of a shock in terms of his clearance there. Good pressing from Burke from Sheffield United, but yeah, I think it was just one of those ones where I think he thought he had too much time on his hands, but it wasn't the case at the moment. Rashford as well had a good game. His first goal was a great touch, and he just smacked it in. Really good finish. Pogba, who's been the talking point for the last few weeks for a lot of fans for United and the neutrals, had a really good game, to be honest with you. Made some really nice assists. Well, he made a couple of assists during this game. The first one was a nice dink sort of pass, and you've got Martial who finished the goal there. And then you've got the other one where he did a few nice silky skills, and Rashford, clinical as always, finished it. Keeper could have saved it, I think, but it was a good finish nevertheless. So, but towards the latter stages of the game, it was tricky for United, where Mukhojic scored a scrappy goal from the corner. So yeah, it's not the sort of games you'd like to watch where you're on the edge of your seat for the wrong reasons, but overall it's 3 points, and it helps United climb up the table as well. So on to my next game, Arsenal and Southampton. So Arsenal, good game overall. Southampton for me are one of the informed teams in the league right now. I think for Arsenal, a point is a good result. Some fans may disagree with that, but I believe considering where both teams are right now, it's a very, very good point for Arsenal. Yes, and for me, I think the first goal was typical Walcott finish where he sort of ran. I think Che Adams crossed, did a nice through ball, and Walcott on the shoulders always of the defense and made a nice finish there. So yeah, that was I quite like that finish from Walcott. It's good to see Walcott playing with a bit more freedom as well. For Arsenal, I think he wanted to play more up front, whereas now I think due to his age as well, he's matured into a good player, and he can play in different positions and be as effective as well. So for me, he's been one of the star performers for Southampton this season. Regarding Arsenal's goal, so it was a great run and dribble from Saka, and simple finish from Aubameyang. A lot of chances towards the latter stages where I think either teams maybe could have nicked the winning goal, but I think Redmond hit the crossbar as well, and Holding hit the bar from a great free kick from Saka. Saka for me has probably been the positive light regarding Arsenal's team right now. I know they have Martinelli coming back soon, so I'm sure Arsenal fans are looking forward to seeing him. But yeah, we'll see. I think it's a good point for Arsenal. Should sort of cheer up their morale at this stage, but we'll see how this weekend goes for them as well. So the next one is Wolves against Chelsea. So this was the surprise result, I would say, considering Chelsea are the informed team right now. But yeah, I think for me, the two stand-up performers were Neto and Podence. Two players who have really helped Wolves mount for top four, I'd say, because for me, they are a team that is challenging for the top four. And with the loss of Jimenez as well, you wouldn't realize that they're missing a vocal point in their attack. So fantastic play from them. Chelsea, on the other hand, had a few chances, but it just wasn't their day. Finishing wasn't their forte during the game. And so yeah, it's just I would say a great result for Wolves. Chelsea will need to go back to the drawing board, I would say, and try and fix a couple of problems, because this is the second defeat in a week. So, this is a stage where you need to be trying to gain as many points as possible. So we'll see how their week pans out. And then finally, my match to wrap up for match week 13 is Leeds. So the highest scoring match during the week. Leeds, I feel like, are probably one of everyone's second favorite team in the league. So really, really good there. So we've got Boogie Brown, 37, who's saying Wolves, which wasn't a surprise to me. It wasn't a surprise. I think Chelsea, for me, just sort of dismantled a little bit. I was expecting a bit more from them. But having said that, Werner, for me, hasn't really lived up to his price tag this year. I believe it will take time for him to settle into the club, settle into the way of playing with different players and the speed of the Premier League as well. But right now, it's not good for him, because it takes him at least 5 chances to convert one goal, and at this stage, that's not what you want from your clinical strikers. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one for Chelsea there. But yeah, back to the Leeds and Newcastle game. High scoring game, lots of good goals. To be fair, I was quite impressed with Harrison, the way he was attacking the left flank. doing lots of crossing, great ability on the ball. Bamford scoring another goal from a rebound. Informed striker in the league right now with his 9th goal this season. So I think a lot of fans, probably including Leeds fans actually, doubted him in the beginning, as they weren't really expecting him to be leading the line. I think they were linked with a lot of strikers. I think there was one from Udinese, Di Natale, who they were heavily linked with. But yeah, I think he surprised everyone, considering he has had loan spells in the past with other Premier League teams / Championship teams as well. I think Leeds is just the right fit for him, and he probably has a great manager. Well, Bielsa is a great manager that understands what he offers and allows him to play the way he should. So it's quite nice to see. Boogie Brown 37 with another comment. Leeds are a breath of fresh air. Typical reaction from a side coming from the Championship. Yeah, I think Leeds definitely are a breath of fresh air. I just hope it's not a thing where they have that second season syndrome similar to what Sheffield United are having right now. But I've got confidence in Leeds. I think they've recruited quite well as well. Rafinha looks like a good player. And they've got so many young and hungry players throughout the squad. The key will be to keep them next season as well. So you've got the likes of Calvin Phillips in the team as well, who for me is very impressive. But yeah, I believe that's the case. Leeds are brave. However, they will be found out as soon as you can tell months ago they conceded. Yeah, I think that is a tricky thing with teams that are attacking and they're coming from the Championship. So it's one of those ones where you have to play in a compact way and to ensure your defense is still great, and make sure you're not leaking goals. But I think so far they're doing well. So hopefully it continues for them. Obviously, I don't see them being troubled in terms of relegation, but I think definitely they will be the team to impress everyone as well. I think they may have surprised a few, but I watched them quite a bit in the Championship last year, and they've just continued their form into the Premier League at the same time. So yeah, it's really good to see. Okay, so this brings me to my team of the week. So I always like to do this where hopefully I can show you this. So yeah, I got a bit of stick last time, but I had a lot of Liverpool players. But considering the result, I'm sure you can understand why I have a few Liverpool players in my squad here. So I've gone for Areola in goals from Fulham. So Fulham kept a clean sheet during the weekend. I've been impressed with him for the last few weeks because he's been making a lot of saves that are quite important to the team, to be honest. And also, I feel like the game that's just gone, he kept them in the game. He made some crucial saves towards the latter stages. So for me, I think he deserves to be in my team of the week. I think for a lot of teams next year, because I believe he's on a loan deal as well, so it might be a thing where he impresses a lot of teams this year, and you never know, he might have a move next year in the summer next year. So that's my selection there. I've got Taylor from Burnley as my sort of left-sided centre back. Main reason I picked him because he made a very impressive tackle towards I think it was first half, which could have led to a goal. I believe it was Traore from Aston Villa, who was one-on-one, and you would have expected him to score. But yeah, I think he did really well in terms of making that challenge. So that's why I've added him to my team. Reece Williams for me, star performer. Star performer of the week, to be honest with you. Looked so assured. You wouldn't expect that from a person who's making their Premier League debut. So for me, very, very important that he continues his form. And I think with our injury crisis right now, he'll be given more of a chance, which will be nice for the youngster as well. My second right-sided centre-back is Dallas. So Dallas scored a goal during the weekend, but I think I've been quite impressive just the way he plays, because he can play multiple positions. So he can play on the right-hand side as well. So he's quite an effective player in terms of how Leeds have set up. So that's why I've included him to my team of the week. Midfield, I've got Pogba. I think if you watch the game, there's no surprise there. Definitely started the show. Showed great glimpses of skill, great different distribution of passing, and was really the guy that was playmaking for the team there. So let's see how January pans out, because there's a lot of rumours going around in terms of his position at the club. So we'll see how that goes for him. Jones, for me, has to be in the team. I've not added him in my team in the last few weeks, but for me, he's just so impressive. So for me, it was about time that he was actually in my team. And yeah, for me, he was one of the star performers during the match week. Walker on the right hand side, great goal he scored against Arsenal there, but he's been played very well the last few weeks for me as well. So I thought like he had to continue his position in my match week as well. You've got Neto. Neto has been one of the standout performers, I would say, young performers in the league this season. Can play on the left or right, but has such great bursts of speed, and that was proved with his goal over the weekend as well. So I was quite impressed with him there. Boogie Brown 37 says Curtis Jones is going to be the main stay player for Liverpool. I'll be honest with you, I agree with that. At the start, I was glad that he was a part of the first team squad, but I thought it might take him a bit of time to get used to playing at a first team level. But for me, in terms of my expectation, he's surpassed that. I think next year we'll see. This season we are seeing that as well, but I think next year he'll literally be the main guy, which is great to see. You know, homegrown player as well, coming through the academy. So it's what we like to see as fans. And then as my number 10, I've got Podence in the team. So he's impressed me quite a bit this season. So as they've sold as they sold Jota to Liverpool, there was question marks in terms of who would come in or who would take that role in the team. And for me, he's done that effectively. He plays both sides, both-footed as well, actually, and has great flair about him as well. So for me, has been, alongside Neto, has been one of the standout performers this year as well. So up front, might be a little bit debatable, because I initially had Rashford because of the goals he scored. I've gone for Haller just because I thought his goal was amazing. So maybe not the right reasons there, but I feel like it kind of justifies his week for his team there. And getting a point against Crystal Palace is a good result, considering Palace are in great form right now as well. And I had to add my guy right there, Bobby Dazzler, into the starting lineup. Great header, and hopefully that continues with him in terms of his confidence, and he plays with a bit more freedom, which was quite evident actually, because everyone knows he tends to drop deep quite a lot in terms of playing as like a number 10. Well, Klopp likes to describe him as a 9.5, so he'll be a number 9, but he'll drop as a number 10. But yeah, for me, I want him to be a bit more in the box and try and finish those 6-yard finishes that a lot of fox in the box strikers tend to do. So so for me, long may it continue, and we'll see how that pans out for Liverpool as well. So guys, just a reminder, so we are doing a viewer call-in today. So the lines are open. So I've added a link under our description in the YouTube video. If you're viewing us through Twitter, I have tweeted on my personal page as well as the Football Talk podcast page as well. So just click on the link, follow the instructions, and you'll be in the waiting room, backstage as they like to call it on the platform that I use. And we'll be starting in the next 10 minutes, hopefully. So just to wrap up, I'm going to talk about a few transfer rumors, and then we can start taking in some calls. So in terms of transfer rumors, there hasn't been too many since the last episode that we had. But one is Origi to Wolves. So that's quite an interesting one there, I think, because Origi hasn't really played that much this season. And for me, unfortunately, it's probably time for him to leave now. As much as that he's a cult hero at Liverpool, I think it's just it's time to kind of set our ways. And I think because of the Euros next year, he's probably adamant on trying to get a move where he can play first team football. Wolves will probably be a good fit for him in terms of getting some game time as well, due to the long term injury of Jimenez. So yeah. So in terms of possibility, I think it's a thumbs up. I think it would happen in January. However, I'm not sure if it's a permanent move or would be a loan move. I can see it being a loan where they maybe have the option to buy or have the obligation to buy at the end of the season. But for me, this is a yes. I think a thumbs up. I think I can see this happening next month. This rumor for me, if you follow me on social, I'd comment on this straight away. Renato Sanchez to Liverpool, for me, that is just fake news. I don't know who wrote that. Should be ashamed of yourself if you did write that, if you're the reporter. Yeah, there's no legs in this rumor at all. Me personally, I don't rate Renato Sanchez. If I'm honest with you, I've always thought he's slightly overrated. I know he's been in good form in Lille, but maybe that's because he's playing in a different league where it's not as competitive as before. So yeah. So for me, yeah, it's definitely a thumbs down, considering they're labeling it as he's going to be a replacement for Genie, which for me does not work well. So yeah, so that's a no for me in that part. And then Sal to Manchester United. So he was quite heavily linked last year as well with Man City and Manchester United. Do I see him joining in January? No, I don't think it'll be January. I can see him possibly leaving next summer, but it would definitely just depend on him if he wants that challenge, if he wants to move to a different league. I feel like he does get a lot of game time at Atletico, so I'm not sure if that will actually happen. So for me, it's probably a thumbs down. But you do get strange deals during the January transfer window. So before we start doing our viewer calling, I just want to do a little roundup of our fantasy Premier League. So thankfully, I've actually had a good week this week. So I got 62 points. I'm climbing up the league a little bit more. But the stand-up performer in our league is a gentleman named Jordan Smith, who just got a few points more than me with 65 points. So well done, Jordan. Doing really well. I'm hoping that with so many match weeks happening in the space of a couple of weeks now, that I climb up the league. So we'll see how that pans out. So let's start with our viewer calling. So I believe we have a couple of people on the line right now. So my first guest is Michael Brown.
How you doing? You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Pretty pleased yesterday,
Yeah.
Getting that win.
I know. Welcome. You're the first guest to our viewer calling segment to the show. So I could tell, big Man United fan with the flag behind you.
Oh yeah.
Let me know what you thought of the game. How did you think it went?
Well, I mean, coming into that match, it was a bit of trepidation as usual, because every time United get given an opportunity when their top six rivals drop points, we never take advantage, as our last season showed. And we thought, well, up against a Sheffield United team which has been beaten in probably the last 11 matches or 12 matches, only got 1 point. I thought it's time for Barcelona to come out and United to play rubbish again. And in that first, say, 15, 20 minutes, you saw United start their usual way, very sluggish, very laboured, giving up orchestrators of their own downfall in terms of playing out from the back, far too slow, allowing the opposition to press onto you. And that's how Sheffield United went ahead in that first 3 minutes. It was a howler between Maguire and Henderson. Yeah. Obviously, got closed down by Burke. There's McGoldrick. You're 1-0 down. Now you've got to go and chase the game. But I always felt that once United take control of that midfield, then our quality will hurt this team, because this team is very fragile, and so it proved to be. But we went ahead through, great goal from Rashford, Martial, and in the second half we started off better as well, so we didn't allow them to get back in the game. But once we went 3-1 up, we didn't reward ourselves. We didn't really punish them and make it 4, 5, 6. But what we did was, after about a good 80 minutes, 75 minutes, we started to relax and retreat. They brought Brewster on, Musa on, and all of a sudden United were on the back foot, and looking ragged. And at times, the United defence were being pulled apart. They haven't learned from the mistakes of Leipzig or previous games in this campaign where the defence have been ball watching, overloading on one side, being caught on the other side, the flanks and exposed. And I thought Sheffield United almost nicked themselves a draw. So I think Ollie will be glad that they've won for the sixth time away this season, coming from behind. But he'll have concerns about the fragility and the game management of this team. It's not quite there. United are getting results, which is almost like distorting their position in the league, but there's still a lot of work to be done to make them more solid or title contenders.
No, I definitely agree with that. Do you think United will recruit in January to strengthen?
Well, there's talk about January. I mean, it was about moving players out. Like Marcus Rojo, Phil Jones. I think Phil Jones is getting attraction from Newcastle, Rojo from Valencia. But these guys are on decent money, and so it's very hard to move these on. I mean, they've been two transfer windows now. United haven't got them out the door. There's Arma Traore coming from Atalanta. He's got his passport now, so he's a young 18-year-old who just signed. Coming on the right wing, but I doubt he's going to penetrate the first team or like be an option anytime soon. Along with Palestri as well, who's in the under 23s. But then there's talk about United are going to do business now. It'd be interesting to see what kind of business they do because they are looking for a right back in maybe Kieran Trippier from Atletico. There's talk there. There's talk about another centre back, another specialist right winger, and a defensive midfielder. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone is available because January is a very tough market to go into. But then there's this talk about Paul Pogba, and it's more likely he will go in the summer because no one can afford him. He's on big wages, and it's all going to be a swap deal. And United have already come out and categorically said that they're not going to sign any player who's not on their target list anyway. So there's no point in being given. I think Juventus are offering Dybala and Bancanese, but to be honest, United won't want any of those players. You've already got number 10s. You've got Bruno Fernandes. You've got Van der Beek. You don't want Dybala as well. That just makes three of them in there. It don't make sense. United needs someone who's going to actually strengthen the first team and make them a bit more solid, like your Declan Rice probably, or Trippier would be good acquisitions into this squad. But I don't see much business happening in January. I can see maybe if something comes available. The talk about a player from Brighton, forgot what his name is in the midfield. There's talk about
Bissouma.
Bissouma, that's it, and it may be 30 million pounds for that one. That may be a one out of the rear kind of the rear view. But me personally, I'll be looking. If you're looking at defensive midfielders, you're looking at probably Declan Rice. But I think it's Chelsea. So I don't think much business will happen in January. I think it'll be people going out the door because Ed Woodward had clearly stated that he's going to really target 4 players for Manchester United in the next two transfer windows, which will then ensure that they've got two players in each position. So he's really backing Solskjaer now at the moment in terms of making sure he's got the squad to challenge for any Premiership going forward. But January is highly unlikely for me.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. So, guys, this is Michael Brown, who is also a fellow YouTuber as well. So you are a founder of your channel, Love United, Love Football, right?
Yeah. Sorry, Love Football, Love United. Yeah.
Love Football, Love United. So hopefully in the next coming weeks we'll be doing a collab. So we'll be able to speak with you in more detail. So we'll be doing like a Q&A as well and try and get to know you a bit more, understand your journey as another fellow podcaster as well. So thank you for tuning in and joining us today. And we shall see you soon, hopefully.
Fantastic work, by the way. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Keep it going.
Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All the best.
Cheers. Take care. So that was Michael there. So he's someone that I've known quite well for a long time. I've been meaning to do like a Q&A with him. So very, very informed fan regarding Manchester United, as well as other football affairs there as well. So we'll keep you posted regarding our social media whenever we'll have that scheduled in. So I've got another viewer who would like to join. Is Mark. How's it going, Mark?
Good evening. How are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
I'll see who you support, but I can see from the shirt there. It's a big Southampton fan, are we?
Don't let the accent throw you. Yeah, it's a northern accent, but a lifetime Southampton fan, I'm afraid, from the sins.
Lovely. I like to hear that. So, what would you like to say?
Mate, I suppose it's just a bit of a kind of what's going on, I suppose, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers are thinking the same. You know, three is a lucky number at the moment for Southampton in regards to positions, wins, points, everything. And it's just coming together fantastically at the moment. I think if you look at kind of when you're kind of talking about managers of the year, I think if you cut out seasons, but if you look at 2020 as a whole, I think Ralph Hasenhutl's got to be the manager of the season. I mean, the dreaded L word always creeps up. We got obviously smashed 9-0 by Leicester last year, and everybody was kind of gunning for Ralph to leave. And the next few results after that didn't really pick up. We obviously drew with Arsenal in the last minute, and you know, times were quite bleak as well. And I think if you look at what he's done for a year, and he's turned a very average squad into, I mean, it's a weird league at the moment, and let's be completely honest. Southampton are kind of sitting third at the moment, and it's just fantastic. And I think every Southampton supporter is just kind of grasping at the moment, and we're kind of taking each game as it comes. But you know, there are a few hits out there at the moment, but every player just seems to have improved, and I think that's a credit to the manager. I think he's got that belief in them now. He's kind of installed something in them that they're kind of unbeatable. And if you look at some of the players who last season were on the verges of leaving, I mean, not last season, but the season before, James Ward-Prowse nearly went to Watford. You know, we bought Vestergaard, and he was a bench warmer. He let 9 goals in against Leicester, and everyone thought that were it. He could have gone to Leicester in January. You look at Romeo, who nearly left on a free transfer. You look at Shedhams as well, who came in, didn't hit the ground running. Leeds wanted him in January. We could have got rid of him. All these players, if we'd have got rid of them now, where would we be? But Ralph's kind of massively put that belief into these players, and we're outstanding. Vestergaard's a world beater at the moment. I know we've talked about him, and he's been linking with Liverpool again. You look at, we don't need that. But you look at James Ward-Prowse, who again has just shone, and you know, bar Kevin De Bruyne, is he the best free kick taker in the Premier League? I think some would say yes. I mean, his statistics just speak for themselves as well. I mean, he's just overtaken Matt Letizia in the last few weeks around being Southampton's all-time scorer from set pieces, and I think he's 2 off David Beckham for the Premier League record, which he could do that in the next game. So, I think it's just a real optimistic time down at Southampton at the moment, and I'm sure every fan kind of echoes that with me around how we are now kind of moving on from that kind of 9-0 defeat that gets Sky like to bring up every time we play. But we just look more rounded now, and I think it's tomorrow Man City. I think it's a bit of a free hit. If we lose that game, we're not going to be too disappointed. But you know, we were starting to looking at other games like Arsenal during midweek and thinking, actually, you know, we should have taken 3 points from that game, and that compared to last season is a big thing at the moment.
Massive. It was a massive turnaround in terms of last year. I think a lot of fans did expect the manager to be sacked, but obviously it's good from the board from Southampton where they kept faith in him and kept him on board as well. We've got Boogie Brown, who says that George Brass has been excellent. Jempo has potential. Jempo is someone I'd like to talk about because I feel like he's going to be the next big thing in terms of coming out of Southampton. What do you think?
He's very young. He's still, let's not forget. I think he's 22, and he's still he's still running around. He's still doing his thing. And I remember when he first signed, and everyone said that they kind of put him on a benchmark with Mane. Obviously, Mane coming through the Southampton ranks as well. I don't think he's there yet. I think he needs to kind of understand what game he's playing. But he's obviously learning from Redmond. He's learning from Walcott, and he's going to get that. And Southampton fans will be patient with him because he does bring a lot of energy to the pitch and a lot of running and a lot of kind of high press. But I just think at the moment he's not got the goals, or he lacks a little bit of discipline as well. He's always picking up the odd yellow card as well. So I think he's one of those at the moment. Give him time and he'll flourish. But there's another guy as well you'll start to see coming through at the moment. It's a young lad called Daniel Lumpa. And he's up there. He came on the other day, but for the under 23s, he's been smashing goals in left, right, and centre. He got a hat trick. A hat trick or 4 goals against Man City the other week. But he's knocked Shane Long off the bench now. And he's a very kind of forward-thinking, attack-minded, very quick player, and he's only 19, so he's probably the big one to watch out for this season. I think he's going to kind of come on a few leaps and bounds when he gets a bit more game time.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, you heard it here first. I wasn't aware of this.
Definitely. keep an eye on Daniel Lumper.
No, definitely. So realistically, where do you see Southampton finishing? What is the goal now? Because you're such in form right now. Do you see yourself challenging for top 4? Where do you see yourself at the end?
I think it's a game at a time, and I think that's what Ralph Hasenhuttl was doing. He's taking it a game at a time, and he's not getting overconfident. Or we're not talking about top 4. I mean, we were top of the league for the first time in 32 years in October, and I mean, for me, screenshotting it, sending it to everybody I know. My best friend's a Portsmouth fan, so he was getting that constantly. But it was just a great achievement, and I think if you're realistic as a Southampton fan, I think if we look at what Koeman did all those years ago when he took us to top 8, we were really happy with that. And obviously we got into Europe, and I think if we kind of still have that mindset, anything above top 8 is achievable, and it's a fantastic season for us considering what happened last year. But overall, 2020 has been a fantastic year for turning it around, and European football would be a nice touch. But I think where we are at the moment, we're third. If you'd have said 3rd December last year, I'd have laughed at you. No chance. But we just need to be realistic. I think every Southampton fan at the moment is keeping the feet on the ground in regards to where we will finish this season. And like I said, anything above 8, I think is a massive achievement, and we just carry on from there.
I agree with Boogie Brown 37 there. Great insight, Mark. I feel like you're a sensible fan in terms of being level-headed, because I'm sure there'll be a lot of fans online that you'll see where, they're probably blowing the trumpet the wrong way, where it's like, we can get top 4 or we'll be challenging for Europe. But I think realistically, I made the prediction. Well, I said last week that I think they should be challenging for Europa. I think they might be able to sneak it just because of the way you guys have been playing this year, and you've been pretty consistent as well. Which a lot of the other teams, the so-called Uniteds, the Chelseas, they haven't been as consistent, and the Wolves as well, in my opinion. So
I think it's all about January as well. I think there's a lot of teams out there at the moment who are, like Michael said previously, Man U are going to look for a few chunky signings in January. Things aren't going well at the moment. You look at Man City as well; they've got to be thinking exactly the same as well when it comes to strikers. You look at Leicester as well; they're peaking, and then they're not as well. And then you've got your teams like your Villas and your Wolves as well, who have got a few injuries as well, and we'll start thinking about January. And then it all boils down to Southampton. We don't have the chairman or we don't have the owner who wants to splash the cash at the moment. Actually, if we buy big, is that going to rock the boat with the players that we've got? Like I've mentioned, the young players coming through. So I think that's all up in debate. I think this league is going to be determined after the transfer window, because just looking at the teams out there at the moment, there needs to be a lot of kind of improvement. And like I said, it's a bit of a wacky league at the moment, whether that's because there's no fans or not, and that's affecting players. But actually, I think we'll see kind of record numbers within this January. And I know obviously with pandemics and stuff like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see the record-breaking window just because of how the league is going at the moment.
Yeah. Do you think Southampton will be involved in any deals, or, like I said, do you think it'll be where there's more faith towards the youngsters? Because I think that would be the right approach. But how do you see it?
So it's a bit of a struggle to figure out where they're going to strengthen. To be honest, I think the right back position is probably the weakest one, because we've got Kyle Walker-Peters there. Well, he's the only right back we've got at the club, apart from a youngster. Right. So I know we've been with Brendan Williams quite a bit of Man United, and I think that he will. It depends what Solskjaer wants to do. Does he want to loan him out? Does he want to get that experience, or does he want him to go and be a backup for a number 2 again as well? It's that question there. I think in other areas as well, we signed a guy called Salou, who was who came from La Liga last year, who basically man-marked Messi completely out of the both games that he played in. And he came with a real big reputation, and he's not been match fit, and he came with a bit of an injury, and he's only just got on the bench in the last few weeks. So for that's like a new signing as well. So we've got a new central defender we've not tested out yet, and obviously he was going to be probably coming in, but obviously Vestergaard's just turned into vintage Cafu, and Bednarek seemed to link up quite well as well. So there's not that opportunity for him to come into the team. So that's like a new signing on the bench there.
Yeah.
And then again, I think if you look at the midfield, I think Walcott's come in and Walcott's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. So that's going to be a signing that we're going to probably pick up because of the way he's embedded himself and the kind of he's kind of fitted in seamlessly with that. And also as well, yeah, we've kind of got these young players there. We've got Nathan Teller as well, who again is the Southampton mold who's coming through. And again, you look at the strikers, we've got Ozzie. You know, he got injured, and we all thought that'd be a panic. But actually, when he went off injured, and we did all right, and we had Shea Adams who kind of stepped up to the plate as well. So it'd be a real interesting dilemma around who they would sign as well. But I think the right back scenario will be one. And if Brendan Williams comes in, it's just around would he be playing second fiddle to Kyle Walker-Peters, and would that probably go down well? So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think they'll kind of push the ball out in January.
No, well said. I think that's probably the right approach from Southampton's point. But yeah, I wish your team all the best for the season. Thank you for tuning in, Mark.
No problem.
And thank you for your support for the channel as well.
Thanks for having me. Good luck, and enjoy the shows. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Thank you. So that was Mark there with great insight there regarding Southampton. It's nice to get different perspective from different fans. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to add a viewer call-in session within our episodes, just so we can get different perspectives. And so you're not getting a Liverpool one from myself or from my co-host from a Man United perspective. But so yes, this is one of the reasons why we've done this. I will hope to do this at least once a month. So the next time we do it, I'll keep you posted on social media. But yeah, so that wraps us up for today. So please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And we shall be back, I believe, on Tuesday for another episode. So that wraps us up for today. Thank you for listening and watching, and we shall see you next week. Thank you.